All right, what's up, swing trader? Snacks here. We're gonna jump in and do our watch list for September 3rd. And real quick, we were talking about in the breadth video that I did the other day, the breadth video I like to do at the beginning of every month, that, you know, we're getting some retracement right at the beginning of the month. I don't want to get too wrapped up in seasonality or anything like that. If you look back at the first trading day of August, we got a very similar setup, right? And then we did get right back on trend. And we had a strong day yesterday, right? So we got a gap down and we finished at or around highs on most of our indices, right? So we did gap down and buyers stepped in again. We were in a sustained bull market until shown otherwise. And while today will be telling, right, I'd like to see a close above yesterday's high. Above yesterday's close, right? A close below it would keep the caution flags out for us until we do see some sustained strength. But another close higher today would be a look sort of back to the beginning of August that we may be getting right back on trend. And if we get back over the 9 on our indices, then we're gonna be looking good, guys. IWM still looking like it wants to push, right? We're getting a reaction back over the 9. RSP is now under prior all-time high, so I'd like to see that above. That's equally weighted, and we seem to be gapping up just a bit in futures here, and we've got a reaction off the 50 for the Qs for tech, back over the 9. Same deal for everything, right? We kind of want a triple R setup out of the indices, right? And then that would layer us into our stocks, triggering on the triple R. But I'd like to see another day, or at least another day of confirmation that this move is going to get us back on trend and not just like an exhaustion bounce or something of that sort. So I'm gonna go through these pretty quickly. So Dash, guys, if this is not your first time, I like to trade the leaders in a trend backed by growing fundamentals. And I'll go ahead and get this off of here. I was doing a bit of prep for the second day of boot camp. If you are not a part of this boot camp, do consider the next, where I show you all 6 of my models and teach you how to read market breadth and control your risk, build risk profiles, and actually establish a risk management plan so that you aren't just making money, but you're keeping it sustaining growth and compounding over time. All right, so what we're looking for again is a strong company in a trend, and we're looking for a retracement, a reaction at or around our level, and a remount of the short-term moving average. That in a nutshell is the triple R. You can see where it happened a few times already in this past year for Dash, and we've played them. So we get a strong trending stock, a retracement, reaction at around our level, a remount of the level, and that is our trigger. Hood, and we're looking for that to happen again here in Dash, right? So we get the retracement, reaction at around the level, a remount of the 9 would be a trigger, and then Hood is the same deal. So you get a retracement, reaction at around a level, remount of the short term, and we set a 2-to-1 and get them more often than not. Okay, so we're getting a retracement, we're looking for a reaction at or around the level, a remount of the 9 here in Hood. I'm not gonna repeat that. Looks like at least a dozen more times. We've got a pretty big watch list because that's what we wait for, guys. We wait for a macro pullback to put all of our leaders on sale and see if the institutions step in. That in a nutshell is how you play market structure, okay? It's how you put the institutions at your back. You see them step in to stocks that are leaders that they clearly need to be positioning into, and that's all we're looking for. We're looking for institutional positioning to push us back onto trend, and we look for a retest of recent highs or possibly new highs, okay? So we've got SHOP, right? Retracement, reaction at around our level, remount of the 9. AMD, same deal here. Okay, reacting well off the 50 once it pops up, boom. So over the 9 looks good to me there. SE is a recent gapper, right? We're getting our first real pullback off that gap. Back over the 9 or over yesterday's high could be a trigger here on SE. ZS, I need to see the earnings report on this, but it's looking like it was slightly positive. So, or was that yesterday? Yeah, anyways, over the 50 on ZS looks good to me for a continuation. We've kind of had a pretty deep retracement and sustained consolidation, right, off of a stock that has shown the ability to trend. So if we can get back over the 50, I think maybe we do start a new trend. Uber looks good to me, right? Reacting off the 50, back over the 9 looks good for a push towards all-time highs. We need a stable market, right? Stable macro environment. If the market looks like it's going to get back onto trend, then most of these are going to play out in our favor. I like Palantir, I like CEG back over the 50, I like OKLO back over the 9, right? Which it closed at yesterday, so continuation today would be a trigger here on OKLO. For something like this, you could look for two things, right? If you get a rip out of the gate, wait for the first pullback to show strength and start pushing towards intraday highs for an entry. Otherwise, if we get like a soft open and you get a red to green move, sometimes I use that as an entry as well, right? I enter based off of the daily, but I enter my position on the 5 minute. And when I'm trading, it looks like this, and then I use my cell phone and IBKR to place the orders or purchase the contracts. But IONQ is still holding up, right? This is a sector that just doesn't seem to want to go away. This is quantum computing. I think over this range, the 4350 area would be a trigger for me there. And we've got Dave, financial sector, I like over the 50. This looks good for me. Dave shows a history of squeezing. ANET looks really nice to me. Okay, it sort of triggered yesterday, so a continuation. I would again wait for this range to confirm a resumption of the trend, right, or a possible breakout of the gap up on earnings. Okay, and we've got ALAB, similar look here to ALAB, similar situation, right? We had a peg play set up, and a triple R is also aligning with the peg play. I'll pull up the peg here. So ALAB. So for the peg play, I use 2 indicators, and guys, free course linked in this video, linked on XBios. You can get it out there. You can see my models there. No paywall, nothing. If you'd like me to lean over your shoulder, as I said, I do have a boot camp where I will coach you one-on-one and help you build your edge. But for the peg play, I like to use 2 indicators. I like to use a fixed range volume profile. This is the slightly darker grayed out area that you see with a point of control, and then I use an anchored VWAP beginning on the gap day, and the combination of those two shows who's in control, right? I go deeper into that in the free videos, check them out, but over an upsloping anchored VWAP and over the point of control would be a trigger for me here on ALAB, and ANET should look very similar. It does. All right, a little bit more room to go to the point of control there, but there's some potential. So I like when I have multiple of my setups triggering, firing at the same time, as long as we're in a stable market, of course. So we'll go back to our watch list, and we are here at DDOG. Not my favorite, but again, this guy can move. You can see how well it can trend, but back over the 50 is a decent look here for me on DDOG. Data is a hot sector, and CLS, I really like this. All right. So we got a reaction off of our level, remounted yesterday. So yesterday was a trigger here, but I was asleep by this time, had some appointments this morning. I couldn't stay up all night. I'm in Bangkok currently. Well, I'm in Thailand. I'm in Bangkok time zone. But anyways, a continuation here. So as I said, a rip out of the gate, wait for the first pullback, or if we get a soft open and it comes down just a bit, goes red to green, would be a really nice entry for me here on CLS. I will be watching it. And Reddit, but I think I'm not sure, maybe I'll take 1 position today if we're strong, but I certainly won't be going too heavy. I'd like to get at least another continuation day out of the market. Reddit looks good to me. All right, we get a strong trending stock, retracement, reaction at around our level, remount of the short term is the trigger here, and we are holding the swing low. This is a good look here for me on Reddit. AMSC I like a lot as well. Strong trending stock backed by growing fundamentals. Okay, and we get the retracement reaction at around our level back over the 9 on AMSC. Looks good to me. AGX looks very attractive as well over the 9. This is another really strong company. All right, a lot of RS on this, right? This is one of the leaders, no doubt about it. And OUST, again, same deal, one of the leaders, no doubt about it. And over the 9 is very attractive to me. And there's a bit of room to go, right? So that's why I'm not going. There's so much on this list that like I'm not going to be pressed to enter today. Let's get some more confirmation out of the broader market that we're not just getting an exhaustion bounce, right? That we're going to continue or possibly get back onto trend, right? And if we do that, then we will roll into a high B, possibly even A market risk profile. I would say we're C plus. We'll see how we open today, right? It looks to be that we're gapping up just a bit. Maybe we're like a B minus, somewhere in a B market risk profile. I'm okay with adding a position. Maybe even go half size if you want to get 2 different positions, something like that. Manage your own risk, but do make sure that it is built within a risk profile. And guys, we should be good to go if we can get going. I think yesterday was a bit of a bear trap at the open. We got bought up all day. Well, we got bought up, it looked like it pulled back and then it closed strong. So I think maybe we did have a bear trap yesterday. If we can get back on trend, back over these levels on the RSP, get a continuation out of IWM, I think there is more expansion to come leading into the the policy update from the Fed later this month, okay? I won't be holding too heavy into that because we don't know what sort of reaction you get to the news. I don't care if everyone knows we're gonna get a rate cut. Doesn't mean we won't get a sell the news event, so I won't be holding too heavy into it, but I think maybe we'll get a push into it, possibly some volatility around it, and then maybe a push again after. And I think that may be sustained. If you want to know why, check out my market breadth video that I put up yesterday. That's on the YouTube. You can find it in the X. Just scroll down a bit. Might have been a couple posts since then, but guys, thanks. Things are looking good. All right, if we can get back onto trend, then we've got a lot of really attractive setups to choose from. Stay safe, control yourself, and let's make some money.